Alright, power friends, I'm going to quickly show you how I make my dough here. We're going to go quick. We got 4 cups of flour, bread flour, of course. Not just regular all-purpose flour. These do need to go in a certain order as well. You don't want to just throw them all in at the same time. So you're going to do 4 cups of flour, and then we're going to put in our 2 tablespoons of butter. Bam. And then we're also going to do 2 tablespoons of sugar, just regular old sugar. And I'm going to put it here in the corner. A little extra sugar. Then 2 tablespoons of salt. Teaspoons of salt. And I actually like to go quite heavy on the salt. This is half a teaspoon right here, so I'm going to need 4 of these. Now this one is really important that you put it in a corner somewhere. You don't want it to mix with the yeast. Two. I just dumped most of it out. Three. 4. I'm going to put a bit of this extra stuff that fell out in there. Okay. So after that, what you want to do is you want to make a good little hole in the middle here. For the yeast. You're going to want 2 tablespoons of yeast. Again, it's going to be 4 scoops out of my little half boy here. I'm going to put it right there in the middle. Those weren't really complete, so I'm going to do a little more. Just a little bit. Okay, so that's about 2 teaspoons, not tablespoons, teaspoons of yeast. And then next you're going to want to put water that's about 110 degrees. That way it'll retard the yeast. Don't mind me, I'm just warming up some water. Now you might be thinking like, oh, you need a special thing, you need like a bread machine for this. Dude, I got this for 10 bucks. And you can find these too for super cheap at thrift stores, garage sales, anywhere. They are incredibly cheap, these things, and they will change the way you're cooking. So I got some pretty hot water here. My water is actually really hot, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit. There's 1 cup. And there's 1 1/3 cup. That is very difficult to do with one hand. You just pop it into the machine there. On my machine there's a dough setting right down there. Close it up. Oh, let me reset it there. Okay, so now it's mixing all the ingredients together. It's going to take that long to make this batch. We're going to throw in some Italian seasoning and honey, but we'll give it a second to mix up before we get to that. Alright, so we're going to dump in a few things here. We're going to start with the Italian seasoning. I think I need the other end here. That'll give me more to work with. Italian seasoning. Hold on, this honey's a little stuck here. Oh my gosh, this honey's really stuck. Hold on. So I'm putting a big chunk of crystallized honey in there. That'll break down with the heat and all that. And last but not least, we are going to throw in some minced garlic. I'm sure there was a better way to do this than putting down the camera constantly, but here we are. About this much. And that's it. This is how I made the dough. You give it time and it'll be ready when it's ready, baby. Anyways, we'll throw it back to Nick in the studio. Nick? Okay. So this is a giant ass boy here. We don't need all this dough. I made a lot. So for measuring out how much dough we're gonna need, you just, dude, this takes experience. I'm not weighing it out or nothing like that. That's gonna make a pretty big one. In fact, I might take a tad off. And put homie over there for now. Let me know, chat, if the audio's fucked or whatever. Here we go. First thing you want to do is just work the dough with your hands. The more you work the dough, the more pliable it's going to get. Oh yeah, you also, I forgot, want to flour the rolling pin as well. I forgot to do that. Yeah, flour the rolling pin as well. And this part, honestly, is the hardest part. It just takes a lot of strength. You gotta keep in mind, the more you work this out, the bigger your piece, the thinner the dough. Likewise, vice versa. The smaller the piece, the thinner the dough. And the dough just needs to be worked. It's not a matter of like, well, it does take brute strength. But it's also just a matter of taking time to do it. Get it done. This is huge. That's awesome. I'm down. Okay, my main ingredient I like is pepperoni. And you're going to do this bottom half here. Let me know if anything's falling out of frame, guys, or if you can't see it. Don't be afraid to stack the pepperoni like 3 or 4 thick. Because as it cooks, I've noticed, it really thins out. We're gonna do some prosciutto. Some prosciutto. Esta la some prosciutto. You know what? I think that's good amount of prosciutto. I like a large amount of mushrooms. Now the shitty thing about mushrooms is that they take a lot of space, and then when they cook down they get smaller. But man, it's like my favorite flavor in the calzone is the mush. Not gonna lie. I'm reading your guys' chats here on the side. I'm trying to stay caught up. Exactly, Hema. See, Hema, you get it. Okay, let's keep going down the line here. What else do I want? I'm not big on olives. I'm only going to add literally just like 5. I don't love olives. They're very overpowering. But on pizza, they're not so bad. But like on a sandwich, no dice. You know, we're going to go with the Apocalypse Scorpion powder here. And like I said, a little of this stuff goes quite a long way. So that was literally, that's literally a pinch. That's it. That's all it needs. What are you a fan of, Veach? What do you like want primarily in there? And you know, this is a little unlike me, but I'm gonna go with the I'm gonna go with some tomato. I'm gonna do a little tomato action in here, huh? I know you can't see, sorry, it's not a great angle, I apologize. I'm just cutting up some tomato. The cutting board is underneath here, but I couldn't get it in frame, so we're doing it right here. Please don't judge me. And you know what, I promise you, this surface is way cleaner than my cutting board. My cutting board is not very glorious. And I don't like the plastic ones. We're going to put some sausage on here. So we're getting pretty full here, you notice. We're going to bring things towards the edge. Now you're not really supposed to put marinara inside the calzone. Marinara is to be dipped with later. Now you're like, Father, it's getting full, Father. And to that I say, yes, son. Yes, my son. We're going to get a tiny bit of this minced garlic. Just a very small amount there. Spread it around. Immediately wash your hands because that shit's corrosive. It just stays on your hands. Alright, throw some kosher salt in there. A little bit of Italian seasoning. There's already Italian seasoning in the bread. Doesn't need much. And then you want to make sure you leave at least about, see how this was all the way out to the edge? We don't really want that. You want to leave about 1 inch on all sides of free space on the dough. Like that, right? And then what you do is you wet your fingers and you wet the edge of the dough, the perimeter. Yeah, you like that? Yeah, you fucking like that? Alright. Yes, sir? It's a freedom unit. It's a unit of measurement of distance. I believe that's all I want to put inside. And you know what? I'm going to be a brave boy. I won't, Cap. Thank you for stopping by and saying hello. I'm going to put a little bit more of that chili powder in here. Because I'm not afraid. And also, I'm from the Lord, so what do I have to fear? So now that the edge is moist, your dough's hopefully going to stretch for you quite a lot. Okay? So, pack all this shit in. Bring this over, and then use your thumbs to pack it in. And that's it. You want to apply the wet dough to the other wet dough. There's a lot of ways of closing the dough. You see people do it with forks. You can also do a thing where I hope you could see this, where you fold it in like I'm doing right here. You kind of roll over the dough and keep folding it over itself, over and over. But honestly, you could just close it and it'll stay closed most of the time. Right? We are making like 3 of these, by the way. We're not just making one. And then what you do, you spread cornmeal on your pan. Honestly, it's mostly to give it that authentic pizza place bottom of the crust, but it also helps to stop from sticking to the pan. And then you pick this up like the big boy that it is. Name your son. Name him. We're not done yet. You put the large boy into his new home where he can be large and no one can judge him. And then you need an egg wash. I know all about that. Don't worry, Calzone. I know all about wanting to find a place where you can be large without judgment. You got yourself an egg wash. It's just eggs. 2 eggs. I beat the fuck out of them in the bowl. Alright? Use a brush. You brush that bad boy. It's going to take a lot because that flour made this dough drier than the fucking Sahara, dude. So it's going to take a lot of egg. I might even need a spare egg later. And this is going to give us that crispy taste. Get nice and thick about it. Don't be shy. Get in there. Get in there like swimwear. Alright? 2 more steps, alright? Don't forget, you need to be preheated. Your oven needs to be at 400 degrees. Some people like it a little hotter. Sorry, I'm just catching up with chat here. Okay, last but not least, where's my knife? There it is. Well, not last, second to last, you're going to cut some vent holes. Just like that in the top, so it can vent. Now, this is supposed to be done with Parmesan cheese. I fucked up, I don't have Parmesan, but this will do. You put cheese on top. Parmesan works so much better. It really does. Just not, you don't want to cover it, just a little bit, like that. And then one more round of Italian seasoning from them Italians. You throw this bad bitch in the oven. I never considered how to open the oven with all this camera equipment here. But let's figure it out. Here's your finished product of one of them.